All right, y'all, we're taking a look at this boudoir photography business today. Gonna check out its local search and its city search, see if either of them got BSS. So we're back here in the GBC universe, where we're taking declining boudoir photographers to the number one boudoir photographer in their city, utilizing, our North Star as always is FSIC, full spectrum intent capture. And this is our North Star because it explains why all boudoir photographers either rise or fall. So we got our intent spectrum here in white, and we got way on the left, we got the highest 10 people, the Google searchers, the social media searchers. These are people that are looking for a boudoir photo shoot in their city right now. Highest in 10 people, closest to the money, highest conversion rate. And over on the right, we got the lowest in 10 people. These are, reached them by interruption ads, Facebook, Instagram. People ain't looking for a boudoir right now. Most of them don't even know what the heck boudoir is. So that's our sister brand, FB Ad Doctor. Talk about BLCS over there, different profiles. And these are we currently over there only work with boudoir photographers running more than 10 grand a month in boudoir Facebook ads. But here we talk about BSS. We're going to dive into it right now. So BSS is boudoir search sameness. That's when a boudoir photographer has either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And when a boudoir photographer's got 0 slots, well, they're on page 2 or deeper, and that's extra bad. And that's because we know that approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page 2. They're page 1 and done. And so that's what we care about. We care about the approximately 80% of Google searchers because they're the bulk of the market. We don't care about the remaining 20%. Let's focus on the approximately 80%. So we're on page 2 or deeper, we're invisible to all of them. 1 slot on page 1 Google, also not good enough. Still basically invisible, simply because we look the same as everyone else. If we got 1 slot on page 1 of Google, well, there's 10 slots. And as a result, it's probably going to be 9 other boudoir photographers, 1 link for each. And so, a buyer, what they're going to be doing is just, clicking, going down, clicking everyone's link, and, price shopping everyone, and basically contacting everyone, jamming down the price, jamming down the kind of what a seller can get, and it's become super, super cutthroat. So we never want to be at 0 or 1. We call that boudoir search sameness. And 0 or 1 slots on page 1 Google is not normal. Extremely common, extremely accepted, but not normal. It's actually a symptom of 2 deeper root causes. The first deeper root cause, market saturation. Someone get a new iPhone, then they throw up on Google Maps that they do boudoir photography, and they got a website that's starting to rank page 1 on, or competing to rank page 1 on Google. Or someone gets a new camera, they start posting in the mom groups that they shoot boudoir now. So this market saturation, basically everyone knows about this. A big kind of tsunami happened during COVID. People couldn't work, lost their jobs. They still need to earn money. Everyone's got a smartphone. Everyone's got an awesome camera. So a lot of boudoir photographers entered the market. Makes it harder for every other boudoir photographer in that market, because it's the same sellers or more sellers for the same number of buyers. So it gets harder and harder for each seller. Now, this new one that very few people know about is the false belief of page 1 equality. That is that's the second deeper root cause for why people only have 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And that's because it's simply kind of automatically accepting or agreeing with, or maybe not even thinking about if it's true or false, but kind of an auto assumption that each boudoir photographer gets either 0 or 1 slots on page 1 of Google. And if you're on page 1, you had your 1 slot with your website, and market gets a little bit more saturated, you get kicked down to page 2. Well, that's simply how it is. You win some, you lose some. And, you kind of got to simply wait for someone to delete their boudoir photography website to actually increase, or, actually hopefully move back up onto page 1. So that's a false belief. And I know that because I went from 0 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google to 9 out of 10 slots page 1 on Google in only 10 days. So I know Google will actually give us as many page 1 slots as we want to put in the effort to acquire. Best part is, requires no Google ads, which at max will give you 1 PPC slot somewhere on the page, even if there's other available inventory open. And their momentum dies when you stop spending. So there, and you got to test and figure out all these things to get them to work, constant checking. Way too much maintenance for, not enough outcome there. Next, we know that boudoir photographer with BSS is a disappearing boudoir photographer, because if they're on page 2 or deeper, or if they're on page 1 but 1 slot essentially invincible, then they disappeared from essentially like the 80% of searchers, which means the boudoir photography business itself is on the path to disappearing as well. And we don't want that to happen. So we got our micro universe here. Disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness. It's caused by market saturation and the false belief of page one equality. Thankfully, though, we now have a solution because we know that BSS is treated with social search saturation, aka executed methodology. And we know that because we invented it, we've used it. We've gone from, again, 0 out of 10 slots on page one Google search to 9 out of 10 slots page one Google search in only 10 days. And it works exactly as it says, social search saturation. We're going to saturate the highest intent keywords on social search. And as a result of that, well, when we do that, it's kind of like the small streams and rivers on the backside of the Andes Mountains down in South America. When we successfully have those eventually flow down into the large Amazon River. They all merge. And likewise, in our scenario, all our social search saturation eventually flows down and merges onto Google page one, Google search, those 10 organic slots. And Google will give us as many as we put in the effort to acquire. And also, SQ methodology is the only thing I've seen that actually, for boudoir photographers, that is able to successfully fight back against market saturation. So, maintain the business and actually still grow in spite of market saturation. So still get bigger and happen relatively quickly, get results shown up relatively quickly. The only other thing I've seen that can fight back against market saturation and still allow the business to grow in spite of market saturation is brand. Having a well-known, massive brand. But dude, that takes 5 to 10 years. We ain't got that time. SQ methodology works relatively way faster than that. And AI is taking people's jobs, taking people's opportunities. We ain't got 5 to 10 years to build a brand. With SQ methodology, if let's say there's a million boudoir photographers in Knoxville, Tennessee, and we're one of them, and everyone's got their own boudoir photography website, competing to rank page one Google search, then what's going to happen is we need to try a new strategy to actually outcompete everyone else. So take SQ methodology, we crank it up to the max, and let's say we take the first 300 slots on social search for all the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords, and we actually, that saturation actually flows onto Google page one, and we actually get the first 300 slots Google to ourselves. What actually happens is it's 10 organic Google slots per page, and as a result, we got the first 30 pages all to ourselves, and the final one is page 31. That's essentially our competitors first start showing up for organic search. So boudoir buyers basically never find them. So whose business is growing when we got ultra market saturation, a million boudoir photographers? But where the first 300 slots anywhere a boudoir buyer looks, obviously our business is still growing. Everyone else's business is disappearing, dying off. It's because SQ methodology is the only thing that enables that without having a brand, and it actually speeds up the process of acquiring a brand. My estimation is probably 8x faster. It's because we're seen on so many more surfaces so much more frequently. Next, once we treat with SQ methodology, we have page one visibility. And an initial benefit of this, and a second benefit utilizing SQ methodology, is every new slot we take, page one on Google, we're actually kicking competing boudoir photographers off page one, effectively making them invisible. So that's a second benefit. That's another initial benefit of utilizing SQ methodology, is we're getting more, kicking more people off page one. We already know approximately 80% of Google searches never even hit page two. So we're making our competitors invisible to approximately 80% of the searchers out there. Awesome. And page one visibility activates boudoir search visibility for us. This is where we want to hit our recommended 3 out of 10 page one slots on Google, because that's the GBC recommended minimum. And that's because if we got 3 slots, basically everyone else will have 1 slot, we'll look way better than them. Way higher chance buyers, click on us and don't even click on our competitors because they're like, wow, why does Google recommend this person 3 times? It's the third person I've seen them now on this page. They may not even click on any of our competitors. And in the very rare case, another boudoir photographer competitor has 2 slots, then we're still dominating them as well. We got it because we got 3. So that's why we got the GBC recommended minimum of 3. And a boudoir photographer with BSV, boudoir search visibility, is a visible boudoir photographer, a VBP. So this is our micro universe. We've got a disappearing boudoir photographer with boudoir search sameness caused by the dual horns of market saturation and page one equality. And we now have a solution, execute methodology. We achieve page one visibility become a visible boudoir photographer with boudoir search visibility. Next, my results. So my results, I want to rank for the keyword BLCS boudoir. Okay, I'm going to utilize my SQL methodology to achieve that. And after 10 days, these are my results. So page 1 is a Google organic page 1, or the organic slots here for organic search. Slot 1, me. Slot 2, me. Slot 3, me. Slot 4, me. Slot 5, me. Slot 6, me. Slot 7, me. Slot 8, me. And slot 10, me. So in 10 days, I went from 0 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, to 9 out of 10 slots, page 1 of Google, all by purely using SQ's methodology. Now, onto the main event here. We got our Boudoir Photography business. Going to check on them and, their local search, their city search, page 1 on Google. Well, we want to see. And actually, I got to bring these over. So we're going to Carefree, AZ. Yeah, I do remember looking at that. Northeast Phoenix. And then Phoenix, Arizona. All right, let's go over here. Boom. All right. Let's see what we got. Boom, we got one. Oh, Scottsdale. Okay, I think that's a part of Phoenix. So, boom, got one. Boom, we got two. Perfect. I don't believe that's her. Okay, boom, we got three. Boom, we got four. Boom, we got five. Boom, we got six. Awesome, dudes. 6 out of 10. So we overcome. We do not have BSS, and we have achieved the GBC recommended minimum 3 out of 10. Perfect. That's exactly what we want to see boudoir photography businesses doing. So for the best chance for themselves. And now, oh, we gotta go to Phoenix actually. Phoenix. All right, so, all right, city's always harder to rank for because there's more peeps competing, more keyword momentum. All right, we got one. All right, so we do got BSS for. All right, so we got we do not have BSS, and we did hit the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 for the local search, and we do not. We got BSS of for the city search, which city is always harder. Right? There's way more overlapping people trying to rank there. And we did not hit the recommended GBC minimum of 3 on the city search, which is actually normal. I don't know if, unless it's a small city or kind of a small town, I don't know if I've seen anyone hit that yet, or maybe like 1 or 2. Very difficult though. So if you're a disappearing boudoir photographer, meaning you've done your local searches, your city searches with the highest intent boudoir buyer keywords in your city, and you have seen you've had BSS for at least one of them. So, you're at 0 or 1 slots, page 1 Google search for, those terms, or at least one of those terms. Or you're not hitting the GBC recommended minimum of 3 out of 10 slots, page 1 Google search for any of the local or city searches, any of those keyword highest intent boudoir buyer keyword searches. And you've accepted the false belief of page 1 equality is exactly that, a false belief. So you're seeing, hey, I can actually take as many page 1 slots on Google search as I want for as many keywords as I want. And I don't have to sit around and wait and hope Google, people leave the marketing. Google is nice enough to put me on page 1. And you're seeing that SQL methodology is the only way to get you there, actually get you those extra slots, page 1 in Google. And you're liking the initial benefits, more slots, page 1 in Google. You really like the second initial benefit, which is basically kicking your competitors off. You're basically getting to decide who becomes a disappearing boudoir photographer and whose business, boudoir photography business, starts to disappear by dominating page 1 Google search. You also understand market saturation, and you are, people eventually get more gear, the market becomes more saturated, and as a result, you are looking ahead, saying, man, AI is taking people's jobs right now. AI is going to be taking more and more people's jobs into the future as AI gets better and better. And you're like, man, I don't simply need these links on Google, page 1 Google. I actually have to fortify my page 1 position. So no current boudoir photographers in my area can ever rank page 1. And also no future boudoir photographers that come from AI taking their jobs can ever rank page 1. Basically, I need to have so many links of my links Google wants to rank on page 1 that they're actually backstacking me to page 2, 3, and 4. and you're actually deciding that the best way to get all these links, again, as cubed methodology, get all these backstack of links on all these future pages, and really actually fortify your position, kind of like the levees in Nolens, Louisiana. It's kind of fortifying the walls against the ocean because the city is below water. So using SQ methodology is the only solution for that. And you want to achieve page one visibility, become a visible boudoir photographer, have boudoir search visibility because you need these things on your way to becoming the #1 boudoir photographer in your city. And you're also liking the future benefits of SQ methodology, or basically you understand that as we execute SQ methodology successfully every single day, we're building up these invisible thematic keyword columns that are like plugged into your kind of like your cluster, your brand name, your business name, your social handles names, kind of like plugging these invisible thematic keyword columns in. And every day we build that up, we're increasing the probability that you are the one recommended up here, the AI overview and search, because you're just building up so much authority, repetition, relevance, age, with all these different keywords, the size, intent, boudoir buyer keywords. And so you actually want, you want that increased probability percentage every day of being recommended here, because it also comes with increased probability of being recommended through all the AI searches, all the AI search apps. We're building up this like massive backend AI keyword search momentum. It's invisible, but every day it builds and builds and builds. And so it's ChatGPT, that is Claude, Perplexity, Microsoft Copilot, Google Gemini. These are getting more and more popular every single day, increasing search volume every single day, with Google standard search, basically decreasing every single day. And last time I did boudoir photographer search in a city, I used ChatGPT, it returned me 3. I actually did a manual search with Google and Facebook, and dude, I found like 60. So it's like, man, we gotta, we gotta find any way possible to get AI search to recommend us, and you're realizing SQ methodology is the best way to get these invisible thematic keyword columns built around your brand, your business, your names, all that. You're also like the future benefit of, kind of building your large, well-known brand in your area, making it harder for market saturation to ever affect you approximately 8x faster, utilizing SQ methodology. And you also understand my current plan is to only work with one boudoir photographer for your city. So you actually you get all these benefits, kicking your competitors off page one, and your competitors actually not being able to use these benefits. And you actually build up a large, massive gap in front of them, ahead of them, with these invisible thematic keyword columns, kind of keyword backend AI keyword mindshare momentum that you'll be able to achieve and not your competitors. And that's the reason you decide to be a first mover, adopting this technology, because you understand the converse. If your competitor is the first mover instead, then what actually happens is, they're getting all their links to page one, they're kicking you off page two, off page one, onto page two, maybe on page three, and fortifying their position so you can basically never get on page one again. Taking all the slots, turn up social search, so you're basically become unfindable. And then we're actually, building up that massive gap AI backend keyword mindshare way ahead of you, maybe to big enough where you can never even catch up. And what actually happens is, for you to compete, you would actually have to rederive SQ methodology, or actually derive it yourself for the first time. You would never actually be 100% confident you've derived it correctly. And then you'd have to equal our execution every single day. And if you did that, you'd simply be maintaining the gap me and your competitor have already built up against you, because we'd still be executing it every day. So in order to close that gap, you'd have to out execute us, 2 or 3x every single day to begin pulling it back to like back-end AI keyword mindshare momentum from me and your competitor back towards yourself. But again, you wouldn't have 100% confidence even putting in the time to do that, because you would never actually know if you've derived this technology correctly in the first place. And you're saying like, dude, who would even have 80 hours per day to do all this anyways? So you decide, screw that. You've decided you're going to be the first mover of your city. You decide you don't want to miss out on this. So if that's you, shoot us a DM. Our DMs are currently closed. The hospital is currently closed to new patients. But if you want, but when we do open, no, even if you want to contact us, you cannot. Even if you want to work with us right now, you cannot. But when we do open the hospital for new patient intake, it will be announced. Shoot us a DM then, and then we will see if you qualify for utilizing our S cubed methodology.